Hey, John. Hey, John. Let's see if anybody else shows up. This is just a spur of the moment thing. Hey, Ridge Runner. Alright. If anybody else shows up, we'll bring them up to speed. But I have my buddy Ralph's two Fusions, his Spec Racer and his Super Stock. This is a hood system car, and this is an N-Bell car. This car, we noticed at our last race, was getting like really hot. And this car just doesn't run as fast as it should, so he gave them to me to kind of look at. Now, I already looked at this car. I tore it all apart. I tore both of these cars apart. I cleaned this hood system, took the brushes out, cleaned the com, put it all back together. It helped a little bit. I think the brushes are just worn out. This car was bought used. This car I actually built, and I traded it to Ralph for a couple of T-Jets that he built for me and some other stuff. This has a Joker hot stock Rooster Racing arm in it. And I thought when I took this all apart, cleaned it, oiled it, I thought it was good. I told them, yeah, I think it's looking good. It, wasn't getting too hot. It was maybe in the 120 degree range. But I just put it on the track again because I was bored, and I came in the garage and I was tinkering around like I do. And I put this on the track and I ran like 10, 15 laps, and it felt hot again. So sure enough, at the brushes, it was like 140 degrees after not that many laps. I was like, man, what? I don't know what's going on with this thing, because it's not tight anywhere. There's plenty of space for the armature. The rear end is not binding in any way. It's not super low. I mean, it's low, but it's not suits. It's no lower than my Fusions. I was comparing like this car running the same amount of laps. It's like same armature. This thing only gets up to like, it was only like 112 degrees, 115 degrees. Same thing with my Ghost Cat. This thing was like 120, not even. But I don't know if you guys have any suggestions. I was thinking of taking the armature out and ohming it out just to see if something funky is going on with it. But I noticed on the dyno, this thing's a screamer. I don't remember this car being that fast, but it was up in like the 450 realm. And now it's 440, but it's definitely fast. This car just sounds weird. It gets hot. I think it has an issue with the contacts of the brushes or the spring tension on the brushes, because it goes up and down. Not even hitting 4 anymore, this car. And on the track, this car feels a little slow, but that's not my main concern. My main concern is why this car is getting so hot. I mean, I'll take this thing for, I'll do some laps and I'll show you what I mean real quick. I'll put my heat gun right here so we can, I'll do like 10 laps. Go. Alright, just did 15 laps. Oh, sure, now the thing is, oh yeah, look. 130 something on those brushes. It was 137 before. Like the brushes are getting, or is that where the armature windings are meet? I don't know. This thing in here is getting, I mean, that was only 15 laps and it's like 130 something. Imagine 4 heats. So, I gotta figure, yeah, and I could feel that thing's hot. After only 15 laps, it shouldn't be that hot. So, if you guys have any ideas, I'm all ears. I mean, the car feels smooth, it drives smooth, it doesn't sound like it's dragging. I looked at it with my setup blocks, and guess we'll take it apart and see how it looks. What's going on? You guys are awfully quiet. You don't have any bright ideas for me? Yeah, I was kind of thinking that. Unfortunately, I don't have another hot stock armature right now to put in here, so short of pulling one out of one of my other cars, which I could do if I really wanted to, eliminate the armature. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna measure the resistance of this thing. See if something's up with one of the windings. Yeah, I could feel it. This thing is still warm. Curious to see what the brushes look like. Well, they don't look melted or anything. They actually look okay. Let me get that spacer out of there. plenty of life. I mean, he really hasn't used this car that much. He only just started racing with our clubs. So. Hey, Mike, Viper Mike, and Mike. Two mics. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, this end bell looks pretty good. I mean, there's a lot of life left on those brushes. Let's see what the ohm meter says. Yeah, like I said, I thought that I thought after I cleaned it initially, it was pretty good. I ran it for a good amount of laps, and it was only hitting in like the 120 range. But then I let it sit for several days and just took it out again for the heck of it, because I was just running some cars around the track. And yeah, I noticed it was getting hot again, so I was like, dang it. Alright. I'll probably just read off to you what the ohm meter says, because I can't really get it in the... Well, maybe I can if I do it like this. You guys can kind of see that, right? Oh. 7.5, that's kind of high. Oh. 1.1 ohm, 7.5, 6.5, 6.4. That's still a little bit high. This should be a hot stock armature. I think this would read around, but still it's, so there's 7, 6, so it's like 6 ohms. My meter leads, when I hold them together, are reading about an ohm, so we got to subtract an ohm from whatever. Yeah. 7, so that's 6, 7, and 7, yeah. And that's 0.9. So yeah, it's like 5.9, 6. I don't know, it ohms out okay. Definitely ohms out okay. Oh, this pinion gear is kind of loose. I wonder if that could be slipping. You think that could make the motor hot? Maybe this thing's free-for-alling and not turning the... I don't know. I'm going to have to put some Loctite on this gear here. So I don't know, it ohms out okay. Because that was my initial thought. Hey, Snuggy. Hey, Jim. So, I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. Take a look at this thing under the light, see if I see anything odd. Don't see anything. It looks pretty clean. No, this is my buddy Ralph's car. He gave this to me to look at. It's his Spec Racer Fusion club car. It was getting really hot. He noticed in the last race when he was warming up with the car. Yeah, I tore it apart a week ago or so, cleaned it up and put it back together, and I thought it was good, but I just played around with it again today, and thing's hitting like 140 something after just like 15 laps. So, yeah, once you start getting up in the 150 realm, that's kind of the danger zone to me. And I have no doubt that if I ran this car for a 3-minute heat, it would be over 150 degrees. I'm just polishing this comm, and I'm going to make sure there's nothing stuck in between the comm plates. I use like a really fine grit sandpaper. I usually run like an X-Acto or these really pointy tweezers, or you could use a ballpoint pen, something to just run along the seams here, make sure there's nothing stuck in there that could possibly be shorting this thing out. I think I'm going to replace this Teflon washer. This thing is really pretty thin. Accidentally dumped out all of these dang Teflon spacers. I put these away. All right. Let's see. That looks pretty good spacing wise. Again, I like to see a little bit of the plate between the brush arm and the end of the armature there. There's no risk of that hitting. That spacing looks good. But you see how easy this is with the Fusion end bell. There's no timing bracket. There's no hangers to worry. I mean, you put that end bell on, you put your motor magnets, pop it in the car, boom, good to go. Line up your rear bushing, click that in, and there's definitely more than enough space there, at least 5,000 space. Spacing looks really good. I gotta take off this. Yeah, these are the magnets from Wizard for a spec racer car. There's one with the white dash and one without. I've never had an issue with I could measure them if you really want to see how close they are. I've never had an issue with but since we're dealing with a mystery car, I will check the magnet strength. You just wanted me to take it out after I just put it back in the car. And yeah, you guys are. Just want to make more work for me. Alright, it's alright. I don't mind. I'm here for you guys. I'm just kidding. Yeah, it's about right. 36, 37. That's what that one's measuring. That one's 34. Let's see what this side is. Yeah, that one's 36, 36. So I'm going to put this side down. It's actually a good call. I usually like to check the magnet strength, and I put the stronger side down towards the rail just to give a little more downforce. So these are both like 36-ish on this side of the magnet. So no problem there. Motor magnets seem fine. And these just have a little tab there and a little tab there, and make sure your bushing lines up and snap it in, and that's it. Really doesn't get much easier. No, this is an end bell. That's an end bell car. The hood system has the brushes horizontal. No, I'm sorry, vertical on the sides like this, and it's open. You could see the N Bell has the brushes horizontal on top and bottom of the armature, and it's actually a different armature. You can't use a N Bell armature in a hood car. We'll look at that hood car later if we have time, or if I feel up to it. I really think I need to get some new brushes for this car and really rebuild it for them. It's new territory for me. I actually have some stuff coming from Wizard this week. I ordered two of the hood system bulkhead with the electricals already installed. I ordered the brushes, the springs. So I'm going to convert at least one to start with. I'm going to convert one of my spec racers to a hood system because I don't have I have one hood system car that's my super stock, and I'm going to convert one of my spec racers, probably my slowest one, the one that's not running so great. I'm going to convert that to the hood system and have a go at building my own hood system car. The car I have, the hood system super stock car I have, when I bought this car, we bought them both used. I actually got them from Steven from Rooster Racing. He sold them for a friend. I got them for $80 a piece. I think I paid $160. So Ralph and I went in half on it. $80 for a Wizard Fusion hood system car is pretty darn good because it's like $115 or $120 chassis. So I took the faster of the two since my friend Ralph wasn't racing at the time, and I kept the faster one as my race car. And it's my fastest Fusion. It sits up in like the 470 range. Runs really well. So anyway, more to come on the Fusion hood system. Let's go ahead and put this all back together. I'm going to put this in high downforce. This is probably, I'm going to turn these magnets around. That's all there is to building this. Don't get me wrong, the N Bell car, there's nothing wrong with a Fusion N Bell. They're super fast cars. I just want to play around a little bit with the hood system just to learn something new. I love how easy it is to build this N Bell car. Oh, actually, I was gonna, let me put some Loctite on that pinion. I guess I could change it out. I'm running a little low on my good pinion gears. I mean, this pinion gear is barely, there's nothing worn on the teeth. It is a little loose on the shaft. I think for the sake of our experiment, I'll put a new gear on so it's tight. I don't have to mess around with Loctite. I'll just use like one of my standard, like a Viper. Let me see one of these. Yeah, this should be good. There's nothing wrong with Viper's gears, actually. Viper's gears hold up pretty well, actually. Alright. Yeah, things definitely was kind of loose. This was an RPM gear, I believe. Okay. Well, it's definitely tight. All right. Oh, come on. That one's good. Dang it. These can be a little annoying sometimes to get onto. They come out from under the hanger. You gotta try and hold the this end. Don't let this end come out too much. And you gotta just kind of try and click it back in. There we go. Alright. This is all back together. Feels plenty smooth. Nothing feels like it's binding at all. Give this thing some oil. See if this thing's still running pretty good on the dyno. I mean, it looks good. It's rock steady. Runs super strong. And 95 degrees already just from that. 96. I don't know about that. If it should be that hot already just from the running it on the dyno for a few seconds. But I'll go do some quick laps with it, and we'll see. If it still gets hot, then I'm going to change out the end bell. That's the only other thing I could think of. Spring tension on the pickup shoes or the brushes? I mean, the spring tension, there is no adjustable spring tension on the end bell. Well, you can adjust the tension if you want, but there's no number. I built this car, so I probably used 009. I use 09 springs for most of my hot stock cars. Gives me a little more tension. Let me run some quick laps and we'll get a temperature. Car is fast. I mean, without even trying, I did a 2.6 second lap. Well, not too bad. 122. It's definitely better than 140s. This is what it did last time after I took it all apart and cleaned it. It was like in the 120 range. I know you guys can't see the heat gun, but I'm just telling you what it's reading. Now it's going down to 118. The armature itself is like 120 still. I don't know. Let's do a few more laps with it. I just did 2.5. I mean, this car drives really nice. You have a single D slot. Yeah, still 120s. 126. 127. That's a lot better than 140s. I'm fine with the 120s. I guess I'll have to see I don't know. Well, I guess I'll have to let it sit for a few days and try it again, see if it stays at that temperature. Doesn't feel super, super hot to my thumb, which is good. And it runs good, handles good. Actually, it handles too good. Handles better than my car. I might have to be like, wait a minute, Ralph, I have to run that car. So, I don't know. What do you guys think? Maybe changing out the spacers and redoing it. Yeah, maybe that helped with something, but I will have to keep running it and see. Let it sit for a day or two, then I'll run it again. See if it starts to get hot again or not. Yeah, nothing fancy. This is just a heat gun I got off of Amazon. Alright, well, for now I'm gonna say, okay, I guess that car is okay. This is my race car. This is my primary car. Let's see what this thing's doing. Yeah, this car is pretty fast. This is in 450, almost 460 range for an N-Bell car. Pretty darn fast. This car runs smooth too, and cool. So, pretty happy with how fast that car is. Sorry I hit the camera. My Ghost Cat, I wish I can get this. I'm curious to see if when I replace the armature in this Ghost Cat. It's up in the fours. It's not horrible. But this car, this hood system car, I don't know. Like I said, I'm not an expert on this car. See how it goes up to like 397 and down to 393. It's a little bit more stable. I want to get his car to run. This is my hood system Fusion. This thing's fast, 470s, almost 480. And I've never done anything to this car other than clean the com with alcohol on a Q-tip since I've owned it. I can't take credit for building it. I wish I could, but somebody else built it. But they knew what they were doing when they built it. I assume that person built this car as well, so I'm not sure why this car. I know it's all in the brushes in that hood system, so I could try swapping out the brushes. I have bought a pair of brushes. Hopefully they're the right ones. gonna take this car apart. Let's do it. How long have we been on? 47 minutes. It's not too bad. These pickup shoe springs are pretty small on the hood system cars. These are ceramic motor magnets. Let's see how these things look. $31. Yeah, $32. So this is the hood system. The brushes go in those tubes on the side, and you got these little springs held in by these white caps. Yeah, let me undo one of these springs from the brush. Oh crap. I made that white cap just went flying. Oops. Oopsie. Probably never gonna find that thing again. I have others, so it's not the end of the world, but I think it went up over my laptop here. Yeah, I'll have to replace it. So this is what the brushes look like. And there's that little groove. The spring goes in that groove and holds that in that slot. And that side is what goes up against the comm. This rounded side right here. And this end of the spring goes up against that brush. The other end of the spring goes up against this post. This thing will focus. That post right there. So like you can see on this one, you can kind of see the spring. the spring holding that brush in, and the spring wraps around that post, and the white cap holds the spring on, and the other end of the spring goes up against this end post. That end post there. Curious to see how these brushes look. That thing's got a lot more beef to it. This is actually a Ghost Cat brush, that one. This is a Fusion. Yeah, that looks a little different. That looks more like appropriate for that. I don't think these Ghost Cat brushes will really work in a Fusion. I did buy a spare pair of brushes for my hood car in case I ever wanted to replace them. I can get another pair. I'm gonna put these new brushes in this car for Ralph and see if it runs any better with some new brushes. I'm really annoyed that I made that end cap go flying, but well, if I ever find it, great, but I do have a few spares, so dig into the old spare parts bin here. So this brush goes, I might have to file these a little depending on how tight this is. Let's see how this goes in here. It doesn't feel too bad, actually. Now I gotta remember how I put the dang spring on. Spring goes on a certain way. I really don't want to lose these springs because I don't. These have been kind of custom bent for this car. Somebody put some effort into tweaking these springs. I gotta look under my light, sorry. Dang it. I think that goes like that. Let me put this cap on to hold this spring on. Wow, that's a much, that's a lot bigger cap. Though it fits on, it's just a way bigger top. I don't know if they changed them over the years. Now I gotta bring this thing around. Nope, I have it on backwards. Damn it. I have the spring on backwards. It goes like this. Yeah, see, this is stressful working on this. This is definitely stressful. Put it on wrong again. Now I have it on right. Sorry, I know you guys can't see this, but I gotta see what I'm doing. I have to look under my light because there we go. All right, so I've got that new brush in. I'm really curious how this is going to run. I'm going to take this other cap off so I don't lose it this time. Spring off. Take this other old brush out. And this one goes in with the arc or the curve, the leading edge on the bottom of the armature. And you know what? If the car runs worse, then I'll just put the original brushes back in. I think these are the right brushes. But this is an older. This is an older Fusion, so. Alright, so I got that brush in. This cap is tiny, tiny. no, the brush is sliding out. Get back in there. Alright, now I just gotta try and wrap this around the post. Oh shit, I did it. Alright, that brush is in too. So the new brushes are in. For better or for worse. They're definitely not broken in. So this car might need a good amount of time on the break-in here. I mean, they have an arc to them, but nowhere near as arced as those brushes that I took out. Okay. Put this back in this chassis. This is an older opaque chassis. This also has the blue Whisper Quiet low friction gear bushing from, I believe that's from Scale Engineering. Alright, car is back together. Curious to see what kind of damage I did to this thing. I'm gonna say it's not gonna run so great. I can't be that lucky with my first attempt on this Fusion hood system. Who knows? Maybe I'll get beginner's luck. It's possible, right? Car's got a little bit of slop in the rear. It's not the best gear mesh. It's not the worst, but... Hey, Mike, Mark. Alright, one spring and shoe is on. You know, I don't normally get stressed at all when I'm working on these Enbel cars, but this hood system stresses me. Alright, car is back together. Let's see how much damage I did to this thing. This is a Fusion hood system car. I replaced the brushes in it. It's one of my buddy's car that wasn't running so great. Well, that doesn't look very good. 3.0. I don't know if the brushes just really need to be broken in, or if it's just maybe these are not the right brushes for this car. I have a feeling they really need to be broken in. I might have to give you guys an update on this car after I break it in for an hour or so, see if it improves at all. I don't know if it will improve that much, but well, that doesn't sound good. There it goes. Yeah. I don't like that. I think it's back to the drawing board on this car. I might have to put the original brushes back in. It like won't even run in the low break-in setting. It's like stopping. Yeah. Not good. Oh well. I'm gonna put the original brushes back in later, after dinner probably. I tried. We'll see how I do when I get all the parts to build a fresh hood system fusion. I don't know if these are the right brushes. I bought these off of Wizard, but they had several different kinds of brushes for the hood system, and I don't know. This is an older build, so I don't know if these are, if I bought the wrong brushes or not. They don't look exactly the same as these. But I tried. Well, at least we got this car running cooler. We'll see how this, if that holds true as I run it some more. But all right, guys, I think I'm gonna call it here and have some dinner in a little bit after I clean up. Thanks, Jim, and thanks everyone for hanging out. Appreciate it as always, and we'll chat soon. All right, guys. See ya.